Hi people, welcome. Today we'll be learning how to make this stylish Bubu dress. It's a cut together with sleeve and it's a one shoulder off. Okay, you need two measurements to achieve this beautiful dress, which is the measurement from the center back neckline of the person to the person's elbow or to three-quarter part of the person's sleeve, depending on how wide you want it to be, which in this case is 22 inches for this person I'm making this dress, and then the full length, which in this case is also 60 inches. 60 inches. So those are the two most important measurements. I placed my fabric on fold. Remember I said the width of the fabric I'll be folding is 22 inches. It's 22 inches. So right now, why I didn't fold just 22 inches is that I'm putting into consideration the pattern of this adire fabric. You want to have this pattern at the center front or at the center back, as the case may be, because it's going to be both front and back. I folded my fabric into four. You can see, so this is the back and then this is the front. Okay, so I've marked my 22 inches, so meaning I'm going to be cutting out the excess I have. So this is my 22 inches, like I earlier said. So the next thing to do is to mark my starting line, which is going to be the shoulder line. Okay, so I'm going to mark 3 inches on the starting line and then 8 inches. On this 8 inches mark, I'll come down by 1 inch to create my shoulder slant or the shoulder slant of this person. I'm placing my ruler slanted. So I'm connecting the 1 inch to the 3 inches here. Then I'll have to draw it all the way down. Because of course, like you see, this dress is cut together with sleeves. So the slant is going to go all the way down. Okay. So right now, this is what I have. I'm going to mark my neckline. I'm using a neck width of 3.5 by 3.5, 3.5 by 3.5. This is for the front and even for the back at the same time. So I'll bring in my curve and mark it out. With my curve to draw out my neckline, which is 3.5 by 3.5. So the next thing to do is to come down here to create the sleeve opening. Remember that it's cut together with sleeve. So we're just going to have a sleeve opening here. I'm coming down by 8 inches from the shoulder slant. And then I'll come in here by 1 inch. That's from this 22 inches here. I'll come in here. This is just to give the sleeve opening that curve around this area. So remember I have 22 inches. I don't want this 22 inches. I'm not taking the 22 inches down all the way to the hem. I'm going to be making this part a little taper compared to the other side. So here, I'm going to be using 20 inches. So using 20 inches, so if I'm using 20 inches here, that means here is less with 2 inches as compared to the other side. So here is my 20 inches. So I'll bring in my ruler and then I'll slant it towards this side. So can you see, just making the down part a little narrower compared to the upper part. So that's it. So here, so I'm just going to create a curve around this part where I came in by 1 inch. So this is just to give it that nice curve so that it's not sharp. Okay. So here we are. So now I'll go ahead to cut out this pattern now. This is it. I'll be cutting from my shoulder slant like so. So remember that I left the sleeve opening of 8 inches. So these 8 inches, by the time I take half inch to join my shoulder and I sew on half inch here, I'll be left with 7 inches. So which is what will be enough to bring out the person's arm. Of course, 7 inches on the front and 7 inches on the back. At the end of the day, that's 14 inches, which is just enough for the person. So you can see that you don't need your hip measurement, you don't need your bust measurement, you don't need any measurement. But here I'm going to look for the under bust point because I want to have that rope I showed us. That's the invisible belt that will give the snatched waist effect. So I'm going to be cutting the shoulder to bust to under bust point. So here the shoulder to under bust point of the waistline, let's say it's the waistline, that's 16 inches. So here is our 16 inches. I'm marking it from here. So you can see I'm placing my tape from the tip of the shoulder. So here is our 16 inches. So I'm going to be placing quarter of our waist measurement. And quarter of our waist measurement is 8.5 because it is on fold. Remember that my fabric is on fold. I have my front and back. So I'll divide the waist measurement by 4 and then I'll place quarter of it here. So that's 34. When you divide 34 by 4, it will give you 8.5. So meaning the belt is going to be attached to this point and also be attached to the other side. So we'll proceed with our cutting. Can you see the shape I have? Yes, taper, it's kind of narrower. So I'm going to cut out the neckline now. So I'm cutting the neckline 3.5 by 3.5. You can use 3 inches by 3 inches depending on how wide you want it to be or depending on the size of the person. So now that I have this, remember that one side is asymmetric. That's one side is off shoulder and the other side is with the full shoulder. Okay, so right now, that's when you will now need your shoulder measurement. So I'm just going to place my tape from here. The shoulder measurement for this woman is 16 inches. 16 divided by 2, that's 8 inches. Of course, this is where my 8 inches is. So now I'll notch this part before I'll go ahead and open it and show us how to come down by that measurement to create the curve that's the asymmetric neckline at her side. So I've notched this part. So I'm going to open it. This is my front piece. This is my front piece. So, and I want this. So if this is the wrong side of the fabric, if this is the wrong side of the fabric, then this is obviously the left hand side for the person when she's wearing it. And this part, we want this part to, I want to make this part asymmetric, that's off shoulder around this side. So now, can you see what I'm doing? I'm placing it like this. So from this neckline, I'll be increasing this part now by extra 4 inches or even 5. I'm going to use 5. So I'm increasing it by 5 inches. So I'll bring in my curve, I'll connect it like this. Now let me repeat this part. This is my side, this is the center front of this dress. Okay, I use the neckline of 3.5 by 3.5. One side is supposed to be asymmetrical, that's supposed to be off shoulder. So the part that has the off shoulder now, that's the part I'm increasing by 5 inches. So here is my 5 inches. I'm marking 5 inches from the neckline. So you see it's stopping exactly at the actual shoulder measurement. So this shoulder measurement, which is 8 inches when it is closed. Of course, when it is open, that's 16 inches. Okay, so I'm just going to take my curve, then curve curve it to that point, like this. So having curved it to that point, then I'm going to cut it out like so. Okay, so there you see. So we have one side wider than the other. So this is the side that will fall at that's below the person's shoulder, the actual shoulder line. So I'm just going to trim out these excesses. So here we are with this. So the next thing to do now is to cut the bar and the facing that we're going to be using to turn this neckline. So I'm going to place my fabric. Remember that the front and back has the same neckline. So basically you can even wear either front or back, any side you want to wear, they will be all the same. But I earlier said that the asymmetric shape or the off shoulder shape, we want to have it at the left hand side. So the person will always be conscious to put the off shoulder at the left hand side. So I'm going to place these pieces I have here. Excuse me. I'm going to place these pieces I have here to cut the facing. You can use bias to turn the neckline if you don't have enough fabric like I don't have right now. Let's see if this will be enough for me to cut the facing. If it won't be enough, I'll just go ahead to use bias to turn the neckline. Okay, so I think I have this shape. Let me see. Just make sure to trace out your shoulder line, which I'm also going to do on this side. Okay, so now that I have this, just going to follow the shape. So you can see that my facing is quite small, which is enough for what I want to use it for. So I need two of this because so I have my facing for both front and back. So I'll go ahead to cut out the belt, and then I'll show us where I'll be stitching the belt to. Okay, so I'm going to still use my leftover fabric. I'm going to still use my leftover fabric to cut out the belt. The belt is going to be 30 inches long. So can make it as long as possible. I will use, this is what I can forward. I'm going to use, let's use 40 inches, not 30. But let's see what our fabric can give us. So I have 40 here, 40 inches out. And then I'm placing it on fold because it's going to be for the two belts. I'm cutting with my sewing allowances. Press it very well, and then before I divide it into two. So I want to keep this aside because I need to iron it well so that they can be equal. So I have my facing ready. So I'm going to be pinning my facing to the right side of my fabric. As after weaving the hem of this facing, pinning it to the right side of my fabric. Make sure that I place the, making sure that I place the asymmetric part towards on the asymmetric side. So I'll do that, and then I'll turn the neckline and show us. So I'm just going to go ahead and pin it. Okay, so I have my belts cut out already. So what I'll be doing is, the belt is, let's measure and see how long it is. It's 42 inches. So I'm going to be sewing it this way. I'll be sewing on half inch. I'll fold it this way and then sew it all the way and turn this side. Then bring it out from this side. I'll do that for the same for the other side too. Okay, then I also cut out this small fabric that I'll be gathering. I cut it on fold. As you can see, let me show us. I cut it on fold, so you can see this 2 inches on fold, and then it is 34 inches long. I'll be sewing this fabric and then I'll gather it and sew it to the sleeve opening of our bubu dress. Okay, so I'll be sewing it to the sleeve opening of the bubu dress. So this is one side. By the time I've joined the shoulder, I will now sew it, I'll gather it and sew it to the sleeve opening of the bubu dress. So I want to show us where we're going to be fixing our belt. Okay, so remember I said we'll be fixing it at 16 inches, which is the half length of the person. That's the upper waistline of this person. Okay, so you can see where we marked our 16 inches. So from shoulder to 16 inches, this is where it is. Okay, so this is where our 16 inches is. So I'm going to come down from here and make sure that it's exactly on the 16 inches. You can do 15, you can do 16. If you do 15, to just be directly under the bust, which actually give it a nice shape, depending on the person's height. So now, this person's half length is 16 inches. In my case, I'm going to be maintaining that 16 inches. So here is my 16 inches. So from the center front, which is this line here, this is my center front. Remember that the waist measurement we are working with is 34 inches. I placed my tape from the center front here, from the center front, and I marked 8.5 because the measurement, when you divide 34 by 4, you're going to have 8.5. So now I'm placing it quarter of her waist measurement, which is 8.5. I'm placing it here now, and then I'll go ahead to do the same thing on this side. 8.5 also on this side. This is the point where I'm going to fix the belt. So here too, I'm going to measure from here, the shoulder down to that 16 inches. So here's my 16 inches and here is my 8.5 from the center front. Already I have this line showing that this is my center front. Okay, so this is 8.5 this way and this is 8.5 this way. So when you place your tape completely, it gives you half of the waist measurement. This is the front waist, which is 17 inches. So this is where the belt is going to be, to give the snatched waist effect. That's when you tie the belt, it gives you the snatched waist effect. So after turning my belt, I'm just going to top stitch it here and top stitch it here. Then I'll come back and show us. This strip I'm going to be attaching to the part of the, that's to the sleeve opening. I've used the highest stitch on my machine to run the straight stitch on it. The highest stitch of my machine, that's gather stitch, so that I can gather it. And you see I'm just pulling out my hook like this so I can gather it. Let's see what I have. So I'll gather it to 14 inches, which is the size of the sleeve opening I left on the dress. Remember that is 8 inches, that's 16 inches on fold. Half inch will be for joining, and then that's so I'm going to be gathering 14 inches and leaving my sewing allowance of 1 inch by the side. So I'm going to gather it and then I'll do the same thing for the other one. Okay, can you see? I've gathered it to my 14 inches. 14 inches is going to have the gathers. Then 1 inch will be free of gathers because that will be my sewing allowance. So let me measure this. So can you see everything I have here is 16 inches because 1 inch on both sides is my sewing allowance. My gathers and I've pinned it. Can you see what we have? I've pinned it to the sleeve opening. I've also gone ahead to fix my belt at that 16 inches I talked about. Can you see the belt? I fixed it on the wrong side of the fabric. Can you see the distance between my belt? So this is it. So the next thing to do now is to sew this part down, these gathers down. I'll do the same thing for the other side of the sleeve, and then I'll go ahead to shape it on 1 inch, and then hem the gown and show us the final outcome. Okay, you can see how beautiful our gown came out. It's having the snatched waist in front, the belt has been tied inside, and then you can see how free the back is. free the back is looking really nice. So the front is the only part that is snatched. Okay, and you can see our pleats at our gathers at the tip of the sleeve. Sorry, I said pleats at the tip of the sleeve, sitting really pretty. So you can see how centralized the pattern of the adire is. If this tutorial was helpful, please kindly like, share and subscribe to my channel. Bye.